Trying to be doing that bullshit. On some good news. Welcome back, BS with Brian Simpson. If you've been following along, there's finally a resolution as of yesterday to the Best Buy debacle. They gave me what I paid for. They didn't give me any discounts or bonuses or apologies or any of that. And I had to go get it. I had to go get it from a store because, shipping was a problem last time. But finally, almost 1 month after I ordered the TV with next day shipping, it is in my house that I had to put it there myself. So there you go.
Success?
That's
question mark?
I guess. Which is so weird because when I go into a Best Buy store, I usually don't have any problems. I mean, a lot of the people that work there don't know what they're talking about, but I usually already know what I'm looking for. You know what I mean? And it's so weird because people will bother you and go, "You need any help?" Like they can help you. You know what I mean? It's like you don't know anything about any of this. But I usually don't have an issue like returning things or like when I walk in the store. But BestBuy.com, that's a motherfucking nightmare. That is a fucking nightmare. It just ain't what it is. It just ain't it. And it sucks because it's really your only option unless you go with like a local boutique place. But that'll make it difficult for you if you move or, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I think from now on, if I buy anything expensive, I'm going to probably do it through Amazon or.
That's how they get you, dude.
That is how they get you. You got to go to the evil corp because they do. Because Amazon does have the best. I mean, don't get me wrong. See, another problem with Amazon is, like I said before, if you buy it and you don't pay attention that the seller isn't Amazon, that could lead you to other issues because the sellers know how to finesse you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They try to charge me a 50% restocking fee on the Neo G9 monitor I bought. 50% restocking fee for a product that I was returning because it was defective.
Right, so they're not going to resell it. They can't put it back on the shelf.
It's not. It's just a way for them. They're trying to, because this happened. This happened before with me with a bicycle. Right, I bought a bike on Amazon because it was during the pandemic, and I was like, "Oh boy, just go out and ride around," and
sure.
Yeah, and it was a pretty expensive bike. But the problem isn't the price; it's the bulkiness of the item because if you trying to return that motherfucker, they're not coming to get it. You got to take it somewhere. So, it's like the whole reason that you had it shipped is because you don't have the means. It's like if you buy 80-something inch TV, you're not putting that in the back of no fucking hatchback. You know what I mean?
Right.
You have to have it delivered. And if you decide that you don't want the motherfucker anymore, or it's defective or whatever, now you're responsible for getting that big ass thing to the UPS store. You know what I'm saying?
That's like with the mattresses. They have all those mattress companies and they ship it to your house and it's vacuum packed and they have like a 100-day return policy or whatever.
Right.
And if you call them up and try to send it back, you can't get it back in that box or anything. And usually they just say, okay, you just got to donate it somewhere. You don't even have to send it back.
Right. It's impossible.
And
you slept on it.
Yeah.
The used mattress market is not booming out here. You know what I mean? I mean, that's the one thing that I'm not taking. I forget who tried to give me a mattress a few years ago. And I'm like, "Oh, well, why are you getting rid of your mattress?" And and I forget what his answer was like. Well, it's just time. And I'm like, what does that mean? Is it okay? I'm gonna assume you're a decent person. It's not bed bugs.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm assuming it's still somewhat comfortable. It's like, it's big, top of the line. It was California King. And I was like, okay, well then why are you getting a new one if it's so awesome?
What was their answer?
I forget what their answer was, but it's not important. The point is, if somebody has a mattress long enough where there's nothing wrong with it and they get a new one, then it's still full of all their juices and sweat and whatever mites that are part of their biosphere or whatever. You know how you have like a different shit, different organisms on your motherfucking
like how your gut flora is unique.
Right. You have skin flora. You know what I mean?
That's like, have you ever heard of those treatments where for like IBS and stuff like that, they
they take some poop from somebody else in your family.
Poop from somebody else in your family.
Yeah, I seen a mother. This was years ago. I only read about the one time. I saw a mother. She took some gut bacteria from her daughter, and she fucking lost a bunch of weight and shit.
Yeah, that happens.
And I'm like, wow. And I think they take it and like reduce it down to a pill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you got to swallow a pill of your daughter's shit. But you know what? People do weirder shit to look young.
Yeah, and they've done studies on they've done like mouse studies where they can like increase athletic performance in certain mice by transferring gut flora from athletes.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Like, athlete mice.
Yeah, I'm surprised these athletes ain't out here selling their poop for that very reason.
Hey man, you gotta get on OnlyFans. Maybe they are.
You gotta get these out here. Your boy Mitch McConnell said something crazy last week.
My boy, yeah.
Yeah, he said. I mean, he basically implied that that the recession was being caused by the fact that Americans are flush with cash because of the stimulus.
Oh yeah.
Because of $800 from 2 years ago. He think that goes to show you how out of touch a lot of our politicians are, right? Like they really have been. Anyone that's been a politician in DC for this long is rich. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nobody, even your favorite guy. Yep. Even Bernie, even AOC. It doesn't matter what party they belong to or what values they profess. If they stay in DC, they're getting rich. They got, they get speaking engagements. They get basically bribes that, because the line between a bribe and lobbying is kind of blurry there, but you have to participate, and you have to participate or they won't let you stick around. Mm-hmm. So, it's weird when you hear one of them, the thing is, not only are they rich, but because being rich doesn't automatically make you out of touch, right? But they are. The reason most rich people are out of touch is because being rich makes it almost impossible to not separate yourself from the experience of the average person. Right. Your day-to-day life becomes, it's like all of a sudden you're not stopping at the gas station. All of a sudden you're not going grocery shopping. All of a sudden you're not flying in a passenger plane. You know what I mean? It's like you start flying private and having chauffeurs and chefs and drivers and mechanics, and then all of a sudden it's like your life is a different experience. And so you just don't get remember when they asked Mitt Romney like how much he thought a gallon of milk was?
Sure, yeah, they do that with like Bill Gates too.
Right.
Once you get rich, even if you don't have to be a bad person, but it's just you can buy your way out of all the inconveniences that take up so much time in the average person's day. You never have to go to the bank. You never have to wait in line at the grocery store. You never have to do your own laundry, et cetera, et cetera. You never have to clean your own house, Oh,
yeah. You
never have to drive to work.
Yeah, and so it's that. So he thinks that $800 from 2 years ago will make you flush with cash. Like I think he really believes that. I've tried to fight it, but I think I've turned total cynic. I'm just tired. I think I'm gonna move fully onto the dark side.
Welcome.
I'm encouraging people, man. I feel like it would be way more effective for you to burn something down than to vote. If you destroy the right building, you could change the world. I mean, remember, that's why everybody loved. Well, that's the thing. I think rich people, and here's another thing. When I say rich people, I'm not talking about millionaires. I'm talking about billionaires. I'm talking about people that are like ultra rich or people in the 100 millions. That's a gray area. You could go either way, but
you can be a millionaire and still worry about paying your mortgage. You can be a millionaire and still worry about how you're going to pay for your kids' college or whatever. You're talking about people who those are not concerns.
No, not at all. You know what I'm saying? Where you could just, whereas like Elon Musk, for example, Twitter's trying to force him to buy Twitter, like he said, for $44 billion. He backed out of the deal at the last minute, and they're suing him to try to make him do it. And the thing is, even if he loses that case, he's still good. Nothing's different. Nothing's going to be different if it's like, except he'll just own Twitter. It's a win-win. Either he's a billionaire that doesn't own Twitter, or he's a billionaire that owns Twitter. Either way, he'll get what he'll be okay. It's a win-win, right?
Still have 9 children from 4 different mothers.
He's on this Nick Cannon, because it's an ego thing. I think he's having so many kids because think about the mentality you have to be the mentality you have to be a billionaire and just busting in these hoes raw, just going up in everything raw, and you a billionaire, a trillionaire, damn near. Right? I mean, he's really on some 50 Cent. Remember when 50 Cent said, "Have a baby by me, baby, be a millionaire." That some people, he didn't mean that, but Elon means it. Nick Cannon means it. They're like, whatever, like either I'm doing it raw or I'm not doing it. You know what I'm saying?
You just got a breeder fetish, man.
Oh, I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. Everybody wants to do it raw. Most people out here doing it raw. But I don't know, if I had a billionaire, I'd probably have a vasectomy or something. Like maybe like after kid number 6, maybe you get snipped.
I don't know. He's trying to put together a baseball team.
Yeah, but I what I mean is, I just feel like if you're a billionaire, if you're a trillionaire, if you're the richest man in the world, you're not having babies that you don't want to have. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There are every solution to that problem is available to you, up to and including assassination, bribery, straight up payoffs and denials. And then he fucked one of the girls that worked at one of his companies, and that's an issue, I guess. But not if you're a billionaire. Not if you're world richest man.
Wasn't it artificial insemination? Wasn't it IVF?
I don't think so.
I think it was IVF at least for the woman that was on the board, right?
I don't know. I have never heard that talk.
Let's see. Elon Musk, IVF.
Because if that's true, which means that he had the child on purpose.
Yeah. Elon Musk had 2 more children last year with Siobhan Zilis, a top executive at his company Neuralink, according to court documents obtained by Insider. The twins were reportedly born weeks before the Tesla founder and musician Grimes had a baby daughter via surrogate in December 2021. The reason why this came out is because there's court documents where Musk and Zilis filed a petition to change the twins' names to have their father's last name and contain their mother's last name as part of their middle name. I'm seeing where the where's the thing about the IVF?
Well, the thing is, because I don't know how much validity there is to that, because who has a secret IVF baby? I mean,
I don't think it was secret.
No, we didn't hear about it till just now.
Well.
And most of and they don't, because here's the thing, they not only don't they have his last name, but no one knew until now, and that usually smacks of, that's a baby that I don't want people to know about.
Well, but it came out. It came out when they tried to change their name.
Right. So maybe now he's like, I want him to have my last name. But back then, or maybe he just didn't want Grimes to know. Maybe he was a secret. But But this thing, who the fuck has IVF with their mistress? Wow, Elon, you just out here breaking periods. Just a bunch of firsts. I mean, if you, I don't get it. I would love to ask the motherfucker. Maybe he's sensitive about it, But that's peculiar to me. That don't make sense. You're the world's richest man. You out here having IVF, and you already got. Well, at this time you got 6 kids and 1 on the way from your wife.
Yeah,
and now and so then you have okay. I'm a cop. I'm gonna stop talking as though it's true until you find the source.
Yeah.
Okay, but whatever. I can't speak on that man's money, but like I said, I mean maybe he's like, I'm a trillionaire. What could a bitch possibly take from me? You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing too. He's not having, because I didn't even know he had the 6 other kids. I thought he just had a kid with Grimes.
No, he's got a whole litter.
Okay.
I'm having trouble finding confirmation that he did do IVF with Xylus. So
yeah, that doesn't make logical sense to me. So maybe it's true, maybe it isn't. But the point is, IVF or not, like I said, the world's richest man is not having kids that he don't want born.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, and maybe his thing is, and I can't all the way blame him for this. Maybe his thing is, I'm such a genius that if I meet another woman that has high level intelligence, I gotta knock her up. The world needs people that's as smart as me from all walks of life. So if I meet a smart chick, she getting this penis. I'm shooting the club up. Right? I'm busting inside her. I could understand if you were the world's richest man and you thought you were one of the smartest people in the world, and you also thought that intelligence was the solution to humanity's problems. Why wouldn't you fuck as many smart women as you could? Or as many women that were intelligent in various different ways. I mean, just experimentally, if you could if you had a Sims for Earth, you would make the smart people fuck the smart people. You would set it up that way. So the smart people, and this is another people don't understand.
I mean, that's eugenics.
Well, I mean, that's a strong word.
I mean, that is what it is.
Well, yeah, but but eugenics is a loaded term, right? Because that also implies that I'm keeping stupid people from having babies, or lesser people, or people that I view as lesser, right? I would just say it's selective breeding without the evil side of it. It's not the evil side of eugenics. It's the right.
Okay. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, if I'm just finding the world's smartest people and going, y'all fuck each other, I don't know if eugenics and all the things that come along with that. Because if you just say the word eugenics to people, they're not thinking of what I'm saying. They're thinking of like the evil shit that happened to black women.
Yeah, but I think it's also the part where it becomes eugenics is his belief that his genes are more important than other people's. He's so smart that his genes must flourish, right?
Right.
That's the eugenics part, and that's a step.
Like I said, can you blame him? I mean, listen, look, he is one of the smartest people in the world.
No, he's not.
No. So okay, I forgot you hate Elon Musk. Okay,
I don't hate him. I just I think his public image is a little bit of bullshit.
I'm not gonna say hate, but you definitely are not a fan.
I'm not a fan, and I don't buy the public image of him.
Okay, but so let's say we're not talking about him. Let's say we're talking about someone that's actually. Let's say we're talking about goddamn Hawking or somebody like that. You would not prefer that Hawking breed over, say, Herschel Walker Jr. I'd rather Steve Hawking Jr. I'd rather Herschel Walker. I'd rather Stephen Hawking have kids than Herschel Walker have. Did you see this man? Did you see him trying to explain climate change to a group of people? And I think he was in Alabama.
Oh yeah, about like China's air comes over here.
Yeah,
our air
so
or some bullshit.
Just play the end of the clip right here.
Control the air. Our good air decided to float over to China, bad air. So when China gets our good air, their bad air gotta move. So it moves over to our good air space. And now we gotta clean that back up.
My God. That dude is running for Congress. And this is why to me the most dangerous people on the planet are not the stupidest people. It's the people that are half smart.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They do just enough to think they don't need to know more. It's the intellectual equivalent of skipping leg day. You know what I mean? It's like they get strong enough upper body strength, and then they go, I can handle most things. I don't need to
beach muscles only. Bench press and preacher curls.
I don't need to go any further than this. It's like that's it's like this guy. He learned a little bit about wind or whatever, And now he's talking to a group of people that know nothing about wind.
Right.
And now they gonna come away with this. And these are, the fact that this dude. This is why I'm turning full cynic now. The fact that this dude even has a chance. The fact that he is endorsed by one of the major parties, and this should alarm you. You should be. I don't know, man. I feel about America the same way I feel about being a Washington Commanders fan. It's like, I can't bring myself to love someone else. Man, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to be, because we're doomed. It's like Congress is getting dumber because all they care about is winning, so they'll put anybody they think they can win, even the stupidest motherfucker that ever walked the earth, you know?
There's like 2 ex-NFL stars who are running for Congress right now. It's crazy.
Who's the other one?
Jerome Davis.
Jerome Davis. Is he a conservative or a
He's a
liberal?
conservative in Arizona. He had. Did you see that? Did you see the video that he put out? The commercial.
Mm-mm.
Oh, dude, let me show you this. I'm sorry, Jerome Davison, not Davis.
Jerome
Jerome
with an N. Jerome Davis.
AR-15 for self-defense.
Oh wow. Okay, somebody walking with a spiked
Democrats
bat.
like to say that
Oh.
no one needs an AR-15 for self-defense.
A Klansman
That
with a
no
spiked
one could
bat.
possibly need all 30 rounds. But when this rifle is the only thing standing between your family and a dozen angry Democrats in Klan hoods, you just might need that semi-automatic and all 30 rounds.
That is wow. Wow.
The best part is that the Democrats and the Klan hoods
Yeah.
somehow don't have guns.
Well, they are Democratic Klansmen.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, they're liberal Klansmen. Yeah, that's listen. All of us. All of us know about the leftist Klansmen out there. They out there. They're the vegan Klansmen that don't believe in guns. That's running up on these Republican households. That's exactly what's happening. Yeah, you should be prepared for that for sure.
I'm sure that 100% of Klansmen voted for Biden in 2020.
Yeah. I mean, we know, guys. All these lefty Klansmen out there are a problem. And if I hadn't seen this commercial, I wouldn't have known.
Uh-huh.
Right? A bunch of.
To go back to the thing about the.
It was a cool looking commercial, though. I'll give them that. I mean, if there was no volume, I would be like, wow, that looks cool. I would have thought it was about something completely different.
That's what's so funny about it is it's just it is like an ad from an alternate universe.
Right. It's like because it's weird that he had to specifically say that those Klansmen were Democrats. you know what I'm saying? That's wild. Even though, listen,
you probably can't see it from here, but on their Klan outfits, they have like where the blood cross is, on like a Klan, the red cross, they have a Democratic donkey, and then they have a shoulder patch that says D on it for Democrat.
Right. Because that's an issue. Don't get me wrong. There's plenty of racist people in the Democratic Party.
Sure.
I mean, they're just as racist. But I'm pretty sure most of them are not in the Klan. I don't know, but again, why is this guy? Why is it that whenever there is a black Republican candidate, it's always like the craziest, dumbest motherfucker? You know what I mean? It's always like somebody that thinks like this. Like they just live in a different. And here's the thing. This has turned into a game. It's a game. Right, and I refuse to play. That's what it is. I don't care if this guy's a Republican or not. Like, because what difference does that make? Are they supporting him?
Yeah,
of course.
His
And what state is this?
Arizona, I believe.
Wow.
He is his campaign manager is a QAnon conspiracy theorist named Baby Q, who claims to be from the future.
That sounds made up.
I believe his name is like Austin something. Austin
Wait a
Steinman.
minute. So wait a minute. His campaign manager is a QAnon conspiracy theorist named Baby Q, who claims to be from the future.
That is correct. Yes.
And is he a rapper?
No. Oh, well, you know what? I don't know. I shouldn't say.
Is he black?
No, I think he's white.
So a white guy named Baby Q
Yeah, a white guy named Baby Q.
claims to be from the future.
That's correct.
Running this man's campaign.
Steinbart. Austin Steinbart.
From the future. Okay. And is this guy's campaign manager?
Yes, sir.
This is a sitcom. This is a sitcom. Because that's the thing, is like, haven't we gotten so ridiculous that you can't, because I'm a comedian. This is supposed to be a sort of funny podcast, and I'm supposed to have a funny comment about this, but
what can you even say?
Right. It's so ridiculous that it's already as funny as it's, because I feel like my skill is pointing out the ridiculous. The just out of your peripheral ridiculousness. My job is to go, look, but this is so ridiculous on his face that it's not even anything to point out. It's just, it sounds like you made it up. I can't. You know what? Let's move on to less depressing news. Whatever. I might end up moving to Costa Rica or something. Lots of things happen. I feel like I'm missing something major, which I always do. Every week I miss talking about something that is major.
Stuff's just happening too fast, man. Boris Johnson resigned. That was a big story.
And that's crazy to me.
After like 40 MPs resigned.
Why did 40 MPs resign?
Well, they resigned to force him to resign, and he said, "I'm not resigning." And then
because he lost the majority once they resigned.
Well, right, they were resigning to show like no confidence in him, and it has to do. There's a bunch of different scandals with him. One of them had to do with a series of parties that during lockdown they had. But one of the things that really broke it was there was a alleged serial sexual assailant or whatever whose name was Chris Pincher, which you can't make that shit up.
Okay.
And that was one of the things that really took him down.
What did he have to do with Chris Pincher?
Well, Boris Johnson appointed him as deputy whip when there were all of these allegations surrounding him, and then it became a big question of how aware was Boris Johnson of those allegations at the time, and initially they said that he didn't know anything about them, but then more information. It was a big mess.
I don't want to talk about British politics. Because their shit is even crazier than our shit. Even though somehow they're able to get some progressive shit done somehow more than us. Even though they have a queen that doesn't involve herself in politics for no reason. I don't know.
Let's talk about James Webb Space Telescope.
Yes! That's the big news. James Webb Space Telescope released their first official image this week. And you know what's so funny about it? This is what I hate. I fucking hate this. We made this mistake during the pandemic, and here we are back in politics. Because stop letting politicians talk about science, okay? There are specific people who are science communicators. Neil deGrasse Tyson, Michio Kaku, Lawrence Krauss, people of that ilk, Bill Nye, that their specialty is conveying science in a way that the general public can understand and with the least confusion and the most fascination. That's their whole job. Politicians always have a fucking bullshit agenda. They should not have let Joe Biden present this, right? And it bothers me because I have a lot of people that are, because what happens is a lot of people that are not scientifically literate or are vaguely interested in science, they become aware of something and they get the wrong impression. Like you've seen some of these science media sites that'll be like evidence of life found on Mars, and then you read the article and it's like, there was methane, which could be a compound that, right? It's not really what they're saying, but they just want the clicks.
A precursor to a crystalline structure that may have contributed.
Right, exactly. And so the average person just gets the headline and then spreads the misinformation. And so I hate seeing people, because I've been lusting about the James Webb Space Telescope for years, right? Over a decade. I've been talking about it on this podcast since the whole time, since the very first episode. And now I open up Twitter or Instagram or something, and it's like people that don't give a fuck about science are like talking about it, and they're wrong. And I don't have the energy to argue with them, so I just let it go. But I can talk about it on here. Yeah, so the James Webb Space Telescope basically released, I don't want to say the equivalent of the Hubble Deep Field, but was it the same area that it looked at?
Yeah, it was Stephan's Quintet.
Okay,
which is like 5 large galaxies. It's a galaxy group.
So if you're not familiar, a long time ago, years ago, the Hubble telescope decided, because, so here's the other thing. All the telescopes around the world, including the ones in orbit, the scientific community has to, depending on who owns it and who runs it, they either have to pay for or reserve in some way time on the telescope, because different scientists want to look at different regions and different objects for different reasons. And you can't just have it forever, so you have to organize the time. And so there just happened to be a big open time for the Hubble telescope, and they decided to stare at a blank part of the sky. But the way telescopes work is they collect photons, and it stared at this one black patch of the sky for, what was it, 2 weeks?
Mm-hmm. I think that's right.
And when it was all said and done, the image that came out was that there were a shitload of galaxies in that little dark patch, basically. And so the James Webb Space Telescope, which is supposed to have a resolution of how many times the Hubble? Way more.
Contains over 150 million pixels constructed from 1,000 separate image files. That's like what the images are coming out. So that's orders of magnitude.
Right. It's not even, it's like the Hubble telescope is not even in the same fucking league as the James Webb Space Telescope. And they pointed it at the same patch of sky, and we could see even more galaxies, and the ones we could see before in even greater clarity. And it just, if you've been waiting all this time for this, because we had a scare a couple weeks ago where there was something hit it and there's a hole in one of the things, but it wasn't enough to fuck with, like, it's not enough to end the mission. But we had a little scare. But man, even like the stuff we're about to discover, the things we're about to see, it's crazy. It's crazy. And this image is out there for whatever reason. They had Joe Biden talking about it. I mean, do we really need to overload this guy with more stuff? You know what I'm saying? I mean, he can barely
can't take it.
Be where he need to be. I'm just sick of this shit. I'm sick of it always being some fucking old, decrepit motherfucker running everything, man. And you Biden defenders out there, it's like, look, okay. Let me put it to you like this. Would you let Joe Biden take over your finances? Would you let Joe Biden make your budget just for you, for your household? Would you let Joe Biden budget your money or run any other aspect of your life? No, because you don't trust that old motherfucker. He forgetful, he trip and fall. And it's like, why do we keep making the same mistake over and over? Anyway, that's again.
I wouldn't let him drive my dog to the vet. Honestly.
I wouldn't let that motherfucker do nothing. I wouldn't even go eat dinner with the motherfucker. That's how little. I wouldn't, okay, don't get me wrong. If I walked out in the lobby and Joe Biden was out there, I would shake his hand, take a picture. But if I walked outside and I saw him across the street, I wouldn't be like, oh shit, that's Joe Biden. I wouldn't even cross the street to get a picture with Joe Biden.
I'd hang out with Hunter Biden. That dude can party.
Yeah, I mean, he know where the drugs at. But but in all seriousness, it's like, I just I have no faith. I have no faith in nothing that's fucking happening. Maybe that's the goal of the opposition, is to make us all lose hope. Right? Which is why I feel guilty about being cynical, but I'm here. This is where we are. You know what I'm saying? I just don't know, man. Because being a Democrat is just, man, it's like getting erections at the wrong times all the time. You know what I mean? That's what it feels like.
Explain.
It's like
Expound upon that.
It's like when it counts, you can't get it up. You know what I'm saying? We got rock hard during the pandemic when it was time to get Trump up out of there. The fucking fever pitch was high. People were ready to go. And then it was like, hey, abortion rights are under immediate threat. And they were like, fuck. Sorry. It's like, that's what it's like. That's what it's like voting for Democrats all these years. It's just like, we just get ill-timed bonus. We need a candidate that's like, heck, bro.
Are there any Democratic politicians that you like?
Man, it's been a long time. I liked Andrew Yang.
Okay.
I liked what they call it. Donald Trump called her Pocahontas.
Elizabeth Warren.
I liked Elizabeth Warren.
She's doing some good stuff right now.
Yeah, Elizabeth Warren, she consistently be making sense to me, But that's the thing. It's like,
but she's just a senator. I mean, she's just a senator, and she's kind of out over here with her own things. She has some good consumer protection stuff.
And the thing is, she isn't beloved. Mm-hmm. She would make comments. She's a common sense person, but I think, listen, she would make a great addition to someone else's ticket. Mm-hmm. Because this is what would blow, and they too stupid. They too stupid to know this. But what would blow shit, what would blow the roof off this motherfucker is Michelle Obama running with Elizabeth Warren as vice president. We up in there. That's a win. That's a W. See, I can see you over there, Rob. Your progressive shit turning because y'all be thinking about who is the best and not who can win. That's the thing.
I'd support Michelle Obama.
Would you?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, I thought you were rolling your eyes. But yeah, and
I was more rolling my. I wasn't rolling my eyes. I was more reacting to the fact that there's no way they're ever going to do that.
Oh no, well she's not going to run.
Yeah, exactly.
But they should be on their fucking hands and knees begging her to run. They whatever it took to convince her to run, because that's a guaranteed W. That's a guaranteed W to me. But again, they don't like those. It's almost like, you know what it feels like? It feels like you ever watch any of the Marvel movies?
Yeah.
You know how just when you start giving a fuck about Loki, he just does some shit? That's like, I just hate him. I hate him, but I can't bring myself. It's like,
they're like Loki. They're like born losers.
Right. The alternative is this. Like, I don't think there's very many Democratic presidents talking crazy like this, like these people, but and so it's like I'm choosing, and that's it's, you have to choose between, a knife and a gun, which would, head or gut, like which wound do you want, but you're never satisfied, and Obama was the last time I felt that feeling of satisfied, and that was it wasn't a complete disappointment, but it was still like, it was a reality check. It was like, there's no saviors. There's nobody that's going to come in and just sweep shit. Because that's the thing. Every time Democrats get power, they go, we don't want to sink to their level and all of. Yes, nigga, sink. Yeah. Sink. Yeah. Destroy motherfuckers, threaten people. All that. Bribes, everything. Because the other side ain't playing fair. We're not playing fair.
If Biden talked about people the way that Trump talked about people, then he would jump 15 points.
Oh yeah, if Biden was our Trump, or even if Trump was still a liberal, he would still win. If Trump was out there talking the shit he talking to conservatives, bro, the liberal, people would eat that shit up. They don't want to admit that. That is like, it's not Trump you hate. It's that he's not on your side. He's on the other side. That's what you hate about him. But it's like, we need him. We need a Trump. We need somebody that don't give a fuck about none of the proper precedents and decorum and all that. We need somebody that's gonna be like, shut your stupid ass up. I would love to see that. This is the clapback era. That's who winning. It's the people that are charismatic, a little bit of a shit talker. I don't know, whatever. But they keep going. It's like, you know what it is? The Democrats have, they have a list of people whose turn it is. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's why they ran Hillary when they shouldn't. That's why they ran Biden instead of anyone else. Because it's like, it's his turn. We've decided it's his turn. That's why they ran Al Gore. It's boring ass.
They play safe.
Right. Well, it's just,
but then they lose.
It's like, it's his turn. It's like it's his turn now, and so it doesn't matter who's better. They ran him instead of what was his name? Howard Dean. Mm-hmm. Remember that guy? Yeah. He was just excited. It's crazy that's what ended his whole shit. Was just getting excited with his voice cracked. That was the end of him. But a lot of people don't realize because his strategy was working. He was the head of the Democratic National Committee when Obama won. Mm-hmm. And they used the same strategy of like getting online and Twitter and all this other stuff. Where there wasn't no presidents on Twitter before that. There was no candidates on Twitter tweeting. There weren't anybody with like little like their campaign videos and stuff. They weren't on Facebook and all that. Well, a little bit, but he went all out online when candidates before that it just didn't even occur to them.
I mean, but to your point about Al Gore, though, I mean, Al Gore did win. He just didn't fight. I mean,
facts.
Because you look back at the count in 2000, they stopped that count, and Al Gore rolled over, right? Because Amy Coney Barrett was down there with Brett Kavanaugh and John Bolton. Three people we've seen since then, and they were instrumental in stopping the count in Florida. And if they had not done that, if the DNC had fought, if Al Gore had not tried to be the bigger man and say, you know what?
Well, you know what he wanted to avoid a constitutional crisis. And actually, I think it was the Supreme Court stopped it, right?
Yes, yeah. But I mean, there were other avenues they could have gone through to continue the fight and not give up on it, but Al Gore,
he thought, and I would argue that he was right. It would have created a constitutional crisis, and I don't know if we could survive such a thing.
Maybe we don't deserve to survive such a thing.
Yeah. And how are we back still talking about politics? Even when I try not to, fucking Rob.
Don't blame me for that.
Yeah,
you're the one that brought up Biden.
Yeah, you're right. And why did I bring up Biden?
Because he was the one that
presented
put
the
James Webb.
But yeah, if you're a science person, James Webb, it's the future. The image is out there. I don't know why it's only one image, because I feel like I should be able to look at every image that comes from James Webb like right away. And I feel like maybe they're taking more than one. But also there's multiple instruments on the James Webb, so there's probably other images from the same photo, if that makes any sense.
The big image that they're showing is a composite that they have made for public consumption, but there are hundreds of images that are already available, and then there's tons of data.
Oh yeah, and the thing is, what a lot of people don't realize too is that the James Webb is mostly a data.
Yeah,
it's mostly a data telescope. It's not. The pictures are a big, huge part of it, but its main purpose isn't to get color image, because a lot of the thing is too, the images you're seeing, those colors aren't actually what the images look like. They're just being I forget what the word is, but there's an artist that are making the colors so that you understand what you're looking at.
Yeah,
but anyway,
it's like when they show artist renditions of how like a bee sees a flower, right? And they like color it based off of the different frequencies that we can't see.
Okay. Headline is not political at all, I promise. Charcuterie's linked to colon cancer confirmed by French authorities. Blow for industry as governments back WHO data and vows to the World Health Organization data and vows to cut additives in ham and cured sausages. Wow, man, what are the French going to do without ham? French health authorities say they have confirmed a link between nitrates added to processed meat and colon cancer. Now, why are they adding nitrates? Is that preservative?
Preservatives, yeah.
Okay.
And a taste enhancer as well.
Dealing a blow to the country's prized ham and cured sausage industry. That's true. The French love their sausage and ham, dog. They take it real serious over there. The National Food Safety Body said its study of data published on the subject supported similar conclusions. So it's linked to what? Colon cancer?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Wait a minute. Haven't we known this for a long time? Nitrates, I love sausage, fuck. But you can get uncured sausage. Like, you can get sausage without nitrates in it, right?
Yeah.
Like nitrate-free shit?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So then that's what we're doing from now on. Nitrates are added to a range of food products to improve their shelf life and flavor. And, they help with flavor. And they help give pork-based products their pink hue. France is one of the world's biggest producers of cold cuts, known as charcuterie. I didn't know that. See, I thought charcuterie, charcuterie board, I just thought that just meant like various little finger foods and shit. I didn't know that charcuterie was the name of like the whole cured meat.
Charcuterie is French for butcher.
Oh, don't do that, Rob. Charcuterie. Y'all hear this nigga? Charcuterie.
I'm from Louisiana, sorry.
Okay, whatever. Charcuterie, which are often consumed as snacks or with early evening drinks. The government immediately announced it would launch an action plan to reduce the use of the additives. Okay. So, this is what kills me. They're going to reduce the additives. The government immediately announced, listen to how none of these words go together. The government immediately announced that it would launch an action plan to reduce the use of the additives later this year. So this is something that is killing people. It's in the food, and they wanted you to know that right away they would announce, not take action right away. They were going to announce right away that later on they're going to announce a plan. Later this year, they're going to announce a plan that will then be implemented at an undisclosed date. We are fucking doomed, Rob. You understand that? I honestly believe, and I'll say this over there, I honestly believe if there was ever a real existential threat to humanity, we would waste time arguing about it instead of doing something about it. If there was an imminent, say some being arrived here and was like, hey, listen, y'all don't know this, but there's fucking shit out there in the universe and we willing to help y'all, but y'all gotta get it together. Y'all gotta get all of this element and that. We need all the cobalt on Earth. If we gonna stand a chance, they're gonna be here in a year's time. We would spend 6 months arguing about it. All the governments of the world would just be, well, I need this, and they would politicize it. They would be like, well, that fucking liberal cobalt or whatever, fucking all you woke cobalt people. It would be some bullshit. We would die. We would die. If there was an asteroid headed here, we would die. If there was, if we had full warning, NASA, just stop trying to, we don't even want to we can't even agree to create the warning system. That's correct. We have do you guys understand that? We have no ability to even detect asteroids on a level that would protect us. Sure, we have shit pointed out to space and shit pointed out to the asteroid belt and shit pointed out at the Oort cloud, but not in a meaningful way. So we catch a thing every now and then, right? Like, remember that shit? I'm a do the pudu pudu. You know what I'm talking about? It was a elongated object.
Oh, the upna something.
Yeah, they gave it a name of like a Hawaiian god or something, but it was like something crazy. And we didn't see that motherfucker coming until it was too late. By the time we saw it, because it came from outside the solar system.
Oumuamua.
Oumuamua. That ain't how it's spelled, though, is it?
No, it's Oumuamua. Okay.
Oumuamua. So Oumuamua, we know it came from outside the solar system based on the speed and trajectory and all of that other shit. But think about that. We didn't see it coming. We didn't notice it until it was so late that we couldn't study it. It was going too fast and now it's gone, right? But there's shit in our solar system that we can't see, and it's just because listen, Elon Musk launched Starlink, right? How many thousands of satellites? Like, that's what we need. We need to launch thousands of little satellites that's constantly scanning. And even then, I don't even know. Actually, I don't know what we need. I have just strike that from the record. I don't know for sure that that will work. But I know that we have the technology. And it's simply looked at as a waste because it hasn't happened yet. That's humanity. We respond to spankings. We need a spanking before we, any theoretical threat, fuck that. We ain't getting it all, right? We need the shit to hit. Like the way we didn't respond to COVID till it was here, even though we had a long heads up. That's how we all behave. It's like, so it's like until there's one headed this way, we ain't gonna do shit about it. We need way more warning than that. Cause we don't even know what we would do to stop it. We don't need, let alone what the fuck that it's on the way. It's like, that's what we are. It's like, as a planet, we can't even all go, hey, guys, there is a serious potential existential threat to humanity. By the way, it's happened several other times before and wiped out life everywhere. So just in case y'all maybe want to, everybody pool in a billion or two. So no? Oh, okay. It's like, that's Earth right now. That's humanity right now. And I'm supposed to believe in that shit? It's nitrates in the charcuterie, my guy. There's nitrates in the charcuterie. And this is something that I was not even aware of until just now. And it's another thing to add to the list of things that piss me off. Because we should be able to do something about nitrate charcuterie, dog. Nitricized. No. We should be able to do something about fucking poison in the meat. At least. Not fucking announce a plan to form a committee that will debate. Fuck that. Kill somebody. Shut them down. Send a strike force. Fucking blow up the sausage factory. Because you know what? Because you know what the sausage people are going to do? They're just going to keep doing it until you stop them. What the fuck is a committee going to do? Tell them to stop? They already know it's poison. Why aren't they stopping? You know what I'm saying?
They're probably going to do an internal investigation of the nitrates and just determine how dangerous they actually are.
You're going to do an internal investigation and find out why. Yeah. That's what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen, Rob. I'm glad. Great callback. There's going to be, a meteor's going to be headed for Earth and we're going to be doing investigations.
That is funny. I wonder what would happen. Like, imagine if there was a meteor coming to Earth. We knew it like 2 years in advance. Right, we know it's like this is on a collision course.
We're dead,
and we found out that the only way to stop it was we needed some, rare earth metal that is only found in like one country on this planet. The level of dysfunction the level of like global political dysfunction.
It would really have to depend on the country, right? Like it's funny I said cobalt because I know most of the cobalt is in Russia. Mm-hmm. Right, which adding to the chip shortage and all that. It would really depend on what country it was, that would be the end of Africa for sure. Because I'm pretty sure that every resource exists on the continent of Africa, so they would definitely rape there first. Mm-hmm. But maybe that wouldn't be enough. I mean, if it was here, if it was in America. That would completely change the global hierarchy because the other countries would band together against us. Here, you know what would happen? Here, it would become so politicized that it would paralyze, because it would be like, because right away, for sure, right away, these like QAnon level motherfuckers would be like, it's a hoax. Mm-hmm. It's a hoax designed to weaken America, right? You would start getting that kind of shit. They just want to take our resource. It's a hoax, and there would be no amount of scientific evidence. You could mail each one of them motherfuckers a telescope, and they would still be like, well, somehow it's a little it's a little GIF playing inside the telescope. Like they would come up with some kind of crazy shit, so they wouldn't have to believe it, right? And then the rest of the world would be like, we're not waiting on you, motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Like eventually, that's what would happen. It would be war, and then we would fucking probably nuke the planet anyway. I learned something. Did you know that they developed and tested what was called a salted nuke?
Salted nuke.
Salted nuke. There's no salt in it. It's called that because of the term salted earth. So basically, it's a nuke that's designed to not do damage necessarily, the physical damage, but it's designed to spread as much radiation as possible.
Oh, it's got cobalt in it.
It's got cobalt in it. Oh, cobalt is the star of the show. It's also my favorite gun color, if that matters to anybody.
Yeah, it looks pretty sick.
I like a sick cobalt. Yeah. Anyway, it's got cobalt in it. Cobalt 60, I believe.
Look at the
but
big brain on Brian.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be 60, right? It can be. But the point is, there's other elements that could be used, but cobalt is the one that makes the most sense. But that's the shit. We would salt the earth with these salted nukes before we pooled our resources and saved each other. It's so fucking insane, the times we live in.
It's like the opposite of a neutrino bomb.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because what's eventually going to have to happen, what's going to need to happen is a breaking point. We're going to have to split planets. We're going to have to split planet. Like we really need another colony, or even if it's just a space station or something. We need somewhere to send people, because the division is getting so crazy here. I don't know what the way out is. And maybe people smarter than me have figured it out. Maybe this is part of their plan. Who the fuck knows? But I know that, and I know that whatever the problem is, if the solution is not to destroy something or to kill somebody, we can't do it. That's who we are. If the solution to the problem is band together, care about one another, look out for each other, that shit's gone. That shit's long gone. That was the World War II people. You know what I'm saying? That was the, that was the families in London when it was being bombed by the Germans, and they had to keep the lights off and keep the fire off so as not to give away the position of where the people was hiding. And it's nowadays motherfuckers will be like, shit, I need to see. You know what I'm saying? I'm cold, nigga, fuck it. You know what I mean? That's how, right now, we know there's a drought. There's a drought right now. And it's always, there's a drought every year now, right? And it's getting worse and worse and worse. And you know what? It's still people out there watering their grass. It's people out there watering their fucking grass in Southern California. That is a desert. Listen, your lawn, and I know this is to be a fact, your lawn can look just as beautiful with native plants that don't need, grass is not natural here. If you have grass on your lawn, you're just a succubus or incubus, whatever. But we don't give a fuck. It's well, shit, my shit look nice though. You know what I mean?
Same with palm trees. We don't need palm trees.
The palm trees are all bullshit. And they don't even look good. I don't know.
And they're full of rats, too.
Maybe there was a time, back when they filmed Scarface, where the palm trees in LA looked fucking amazing. But they don't take care of them. They suck up, how much water do they drink?
I don't know, but it's
something
a
insane. Nightmare. They drink a shitload of the water, the little bit of water that falls here, and I'm actually pretty sure they need to be supplemented with water.
I think they need to be supplemented.
Right? And
look it up.
And they don't even look good. I don't think that they're well enough taken care of. I don't think they have what do you call tree people?
Environmentalists?
No, their job is trees.
Arborealists?
Arborist something. No, it's
arborists.
Arborists, right. I don't think they have arborists. I mean, the city does employ arborists, but I don't think they have them out there sampling each tree and taking. It's not meticulous at all, because some of these trees look bad. Some of these palm trees are, right. They're just full of rats and spiders, and they're falling the fuck apart. They don't look healthy. They're not green and lush like you see in the movies. It's all. Is this podcast just me complaining? That's what it feels like today. It feels like me just trying to convince people to to jump ship.
There's a lot of shit worth complaining about right now.
Oh, fuck. Okay, I guess we just going all in. Chile unveils its new charcuterie. No, its new Chile unveils its proposed new constitution. But the country's cycle of political change remains in flux ahead of a September referendum on the progressive charter. You've read this, right, Rob? Mm-hmm. Give me the skinny, because they want me to pay a lot to read the rest. list?
Because it's sort of a laundry list of sort of progressive and pro-labor a wish list of their policy proposals, but it also includes elements about rights for the environment itself. So they're going to be voting on this in September, but it's at this point the most progressive constitution that any nation has actually proposed.
And the people are going to vote.
Yeah.
Well, that's another country we're about to invade. Look, I'm telling y'all right now, there's no way that we're going to let a country. All right, I'm just saying, mark my words. I guarantee you there's a military action in Chile before this referendum happens.
That is very possible. Did you see John Bolton in the interview talking about his role in previous coups d'etats?
No.
He just admitted it, talking to Jake Tapper.
Yeah, we ain't letting this happen because listen, guys. I don't know what the solution is. I know that a lot of times people that are anti-communism or anti-progressivism, their argument is that it doesn't work. It's never worked. But a lot of times those people presuppose that what we have right now is working. Right? Because if you think what's happening now is working, I'm one of those people that truly believes that the solution is somewhere in the middle. Probably, capitalism with heavily influenced by communist ideals, right? Or what they're calling it now is, compassionate capitalism, right? But that's me, right? But I do know that hardcore, dyed-in-the-wool, law of iron wages capitalists. They want to destroy they want you to believe that any kind of progressivism doesn't work, which is why they sabotage any country that shows a little bit of interest in such a thing. Because this will work if it passes, but it won't. Or maybe it won't, but we'll never find out because they are scared to death of you seeing it work somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Because then you're going to be like, well, why the fuck we can't do that, right? Right? It's like the same people here that try to convince you that universal health care don't work. And it's working all around the world. Right? The same people that try to convince you that like there's no need for, paid leave when a woman is pregnant or has a baby. And it's working all around the world. It's like, but somebody that's full on progressive constitution where the environment has rights. You think they're going to let that shit slide? Hell no. Somebody gonna die. Somebody gonna die, or somebody gonna get planted, or it's gonna be some kind of destabilization effort. And we might not be directly involved, but rest assured, billions are gonna get spent to cut that shit out. And within our lifetime, we gonna find out. Just like we found out about Iran Contra. Mm-hmm. It's gonna come out that we sabotaged this shit. I'm trying to tell you right now. That's just me. That's my prediction. But mark this shit. Put it out there. Okay, one more before we get the fuck out of here. Oh, fuck, no. I have a lot of fan shit to answer.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's start at here. The homie Jerry. Jerry says, hey, Brian, it's Tattoo Jerry. Okay. With another widely publicized mass shooting under our collective American belts, Highland Park, although by the time you read this, we may have a more recent mass shooting. Ding, ding, ding. How long do you think before we have active snipers at all large gatherings and events, etc.? If it gets to that point, do we feel safer that we know someone is up there watching for activity, or is it scarier because we always know there's somebody, probably a man, who is a trained shot that's up in some window peering down at everyone? Keep up the good work, champ. See you next time you're in Austin. You in Austin, Jerry? Okay. Yeah, Jerry is somebody I used to know from a bar I worked at. And he was like also a bartender, but also the lead in the heavy metal band.
Sick.
Also a tattoo artist.
You remember the name of the band?
No. I think because they played their last show. It was something Hammer. But they played their last show right before I left, like 5 years ago or something, 7 years ago. So anyway, this is no. I don't think that we're gonna have snipers on the roof, trained snipers on the roof at major events, because, I mean, unless those snipers are cops, I don't think that's going to be allowed legally. I don't think you can hire a sniper. You know what I mean? I think that's preserved for people they deem important, like politicians and foreign dignitaries and shit like that. So, like, unless you have, Hunter Biden at your event, the chances of you getting a sniper to, like, overwatch the crowd is slim to none. Also, I think hiring snipers to protect people that implies that the government gives a fuck whether you live or die, and that's just not the case at all. Yeah, that's my answer to that. Let's see, This is from Timothy. Dear Advice Champ. Again, if you want advice, I'm going to say it again at the end, but some people seem to really get past it. If you want advice, email us at bswithbriansimpson@gmail.com. That may change in the future, but that's what it is right now. bswithbriansimpson@gmail.com. And if you want advice, email us at bswithbriansimpson@gmail.com. Please change the names if you don't, if you want it hidden, because it gets confusing and not. Because I'm going to read it as your name. I'm only going to say the first name if that's what you include, but I don't want you to be identifiable. Because you don't know who wants smoke and who don't. Also, don't message me on Instagram. Don't write things in the comments, because I'm not going to read it. Or I may read it, but I'm not going to respond, because that just makes it way too difficult to gather shit from each place. If you want advice, email me. Okay. Okay, Dear Advice Champ, I'm a regular listener to the podcast, and I look forward to your next visit to New York City to do stand-up. I'm 32, single, and I work as an architect. I've been lucky to keep my job during COVID-19, but living in this city with 6 loft mates and working this job the last 7 years has got me feeling burned out. I need more privacy, and architecture in practice is a lot of boring work compared to the idealized version that I studied in school. Also, the pay is bad for the amount of bureaucracy and effort it takes to build anything cool. I sometimes fear that life is going to pass me by in this burned out state of mind. Every day I wake up and fantasize about leaving my job to become an artist and paint full time. I've been doing art as a hobby since high school, and I make sure to practice every day for at least 30 minutes in order to get better. Here's where I need advice. I haven't tried to sell any art yet, and rent is very high right now, but I want to move to an apartment with more privacy and some studio space to be a full-time artist. It feels impossible in such an expensive city with high inflation, but this is where my life and friends are. Where do I begin? You're one of my favorite comedians, and you have a unique perspective. Keep doing what you're doing. Thanks, Tim in Brooklyn. Well, Tim, it sounds like you have the answer to your own question. You just don't like the answer. Because this happens all the time. People ask for advice. It's like people waste time worrying about what they should do when there's only one thing they can do, right? And it's like, as hard as it's going to be, you're going to have to move, my guy. Because right now you're surviving from architecture or whatever. And I know that in the architect world, it's pretty much like the entertainment world where you have to be in LA or New York. If you're gonna be an architect in America, I mean, unless you have your own firm, it's like that's where they go to like come up in the architect world. And it's, but it sounds like you hate what you do. You're not happy. You don't have peace. And the thing is, unless you have, nothing is ever worth your peace. If you don't have peace, then you're not your full self. You're going to feel like shit every day because what are you doing? You live in a city you don't want to live in, that you can barely afford to live in. You got, was it 6 or 7?
6, I think he said.
6 loft mates. And I'm assuming you're not fucking none of them. So you have 6 roommates and you're 32 years old. And I'm going to tell you right now, I've lived that life. It's like I was 32 when I moved to LA. I've had roommates ever since. I've had roommates my whole life, and I'm over it, and I mean, now I'm at the point where I can start thinking about not having roommates. But my dream was here. Your dream is not in New York. You didn't dream of being an architect. You want to be an artist. And you don't have to be in New York with 6 roommates to be an artist. I have no idea what that looks like for you, but I imagine that you can just start putting some feelers out, man. You within your industry, I'm sure you ain't the first person to leave architecture. It burns people out a lot. And I'm sure you probably know a motherfucker that know a motherfucker that know a motherfucker that's, you can finesse your architecture experience into a job in the art world. Start out finding like a gallery or something. You might be able to find something in New York, but you can have gallery experience, because it's a lot of bullshit jobs in art. You know what I mean? And if you working in a gallery or being a curator or something like that, even outside of New York, is possible. But you're gonna have to change something. You can't just keep doing the same thing, right? So you named all the articles. You don't want to move because that's where your friends are. You can make new friends. You ain't had no friends when you moved there. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, keeping your same group of friends. I mean, you can stay friends with people and not live in New York City. Because trust me when I tell you, because here's the other thing. You want your own space. And I think I'm what people would consider a relatively successful comedian. And I can barely afford my own. That's the reason I still have roommates. I think I need to leave LA if I want the space I really want. And it's even worse in New York. I mean, you want your own place with space to do art in New York City. It's not gonna happen. You gotta be a millionaire if you want that, right?
Yeah.
You gotta leave. You have to leave New York.
You can go adjacent. You can move to Pennsylvania. You can move to Jersey. You can be a train ride away.
Yeah,
and then still maintain those relationships.
There's also shit right outside the city. Nyack is out there. It's like other places, but yeah, staying in New York isn't an option if you want your own space in an art studio. That's not something that exists. For an affordable amount. Right? But that's just me. But I appreciate you thinking I'm one of your favorite comedians. Hey there, Vice Champ. Was wondering if you ever attended any crazy barracks parties while you were active duty, and if you got rowdy at them too. Was also wondering what's the harshest advice you've ever gotten, and what's the harshest advice you'd ever had to give. Thanks, Advice Mommy. Well, of course, there's a lot of questions. Of course, I've attended crazy barracks parties. I'm not sure if they ever got crazy, just because you couldn't really get crazy on base for real. I mean, some of them got a little out of control, but no, the craziest parties were definitely not at the barracks. Was also wondering what's the harshest advice I've ever gotten, and what's the harshest advice I've ever given. I think the harshest advice I ever got was probably when, because that's happened in so many stages of my life. But specific to that time, the harshest advice I got was when my warrant officer told me not to get married. I mean, he all but ordered me not to get married. And I was like, but I'm in love and all this other shit. And he was like, well, you can be stupid like everybody else. You can be a statistic, or you can fucking listen to me. And he was right. He was right.
Why didn't he want you to get married?
Because it wasn't smart. Because the military, just statistically speaking, not everybody, but most people that join the military are leaving a worse situation. They're leaving a worse town, a worse home, whatever, and they're coming into a situation where for the first time in their life, they have autonomy, they have safety, they have financial security, and they lose their fucking minds. The point is, and you bring some girlfriend or boyfriend from back home, they're in the same situation, except they're not in the military. They free to do whatever they want. And, it's like, imagine you moving from some podunk town and now all of a sudden you're in San Diego. You're surrounded by people that want to fuck you all of a sudden. You have no accountability. Your real personality comes out. So it's like you're just statistically speaking, 2 18-year-olds that's just having money, and it ain't even a lot of money, but you're just having financial security for the first time. You're in a new place. You don't really know yourself. You got married, so you could get out the barracks. You got married because you thought it was cute. You got married because you finally could. And they just usually don't last. You're marrying a stranger because you don't know what they're going to transform into once they exposed to like adult responsibilities. So it's just, I advise that nobody get married on your first enlistment. If you join in the military and you 18 years, don't you fucking dare get married. Don't do it. If y'all love you in love, she'll love you in 5 years. Just wait it out. Okay, and what's the harshest advice I've ever had to give? Well, that right there. All right, thank you for sending in the email there. Advice for a new stand-up. Chris Cook. Big fan, podcast. Your banter with your wicked smart co-host.
Hey.
They think you're wicked smart. I'm a British comedian. Well, there you go right there. Just stop doing comedy. No. Just getting started with 10 performances. I'm big into politics and want to preach like George Carlin, Bill Hicks, and Dave Chappelle. I can write jokes, but I only enjoy it if I'm dropping truth bombs. My last 2 sets were my first 10 minutes, and they weren't great. How do I avoid delivering a lecture no one signed up for when so much is wrong with the world and I have so much shit I want to say? Here's a clip of me killing in Atlanta. Well, I'm not going to watch that. What I will say is, you can't do, how do I try to put this? You can't do comedy with an agenda. You're sort of putting the cart before the horse. It's like comics don't make things funny. We observe what is funny, what is ridiculous, what is askew. And so by you trying to decide the topic ahead of time, you're setting yourself up for your arguments to sound contrived, or for you being one of these comics that just quotes political opinions from Twitter. You're doing this agreeable comedy, this applause comedy. So what I'd say is, stop deciding ahead of time what your jokes are going to be about. I mean, let me reword that. Like, you ever heard the saying that that comics say funny shit and comedians say shit funny? I don't like the way that's worded, but the point applies, right? Is that if you're a funny person and you're being vulnerable and open, then when you are simply ranting about these subjects, funny things will come up. Those are the things that go in your act. It's like, because it's a Venn diagram. It's what you think is funny. You test it out in front of an audience. What they think is funny, boom, and you keep the shit that fits into both circles. That's what it is. You're trying to shoehorn politics into your comedy, and you don't have funny shit to say about it. You know what I mean? Or maybe you do. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna watch this clip. Yeah, that was enough. Yeah, man, you're just green. You're just green. I mean, there were a lot of things wrong. I only watched 30 seconds of that clip. There are a lot of things wrong with that, but those are all things that you're just gonna have to learn, the hard way. The fact that, like, you assume that your audience knew a lot of things, so when you got to the part you thought was going to be funny, you heard a few snickers, but you didn't get. You have to talk to everybody in the room, the smartest people and the dumbest people. So, it's the equivalent of making like only pop culture references. You know what I mean? Like if I had a joke about, and I just like, so Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it's like, well, some people don't know what the fuck that is. Anyway, you'll get it. It's fine. You just need to keep doing it. You only been doing it for how long did he say?
I didn't hear.
I think he said he had 3 performances.
Yeah, so I mean,
yeah, you'll be fine. Dude.
It takes 10
or
years.
10. No, he said 10 performances.
Well, it takes 10 years to get to the point where you're not green anymore.
Yeah, pretty much somewhere near there.
But I mean, you know what? Like the thing is, the people that he's mentioning, like George Carlin, Bill Hicks, and Dave Chappelle. I mean, like 3 of the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
They all had a perspective, and their perspective came through in the things that they talked about, but they still had a comedic perspective on those topics.
Right.
Like Bill Hicks, he wasn't preaching to the choir because he was talking about things from an angle that they had not thought of them from, because he was unique in the way that he saw these political and cultural issues.
Precisely. You hear that? Okay, this is from Bjorn. Hey, what's up, Bjorn? My brother is currently an inmate in Fayetteville, Pennsylvania Penitentiary. Okay. He was previously in Marionville. He worked in the kitchen in both locations, and in both places, the meat he used to cook had a label on it saying not for human consumption. It's for making dog food. They are feeding this to prisoners. All PA prisoners get their food from the same place. This is obviously illegal and immoral. I can't get any pictures because no one can get in there. How do we do anything about this? I don't fucking know, man. I mean, because it's not news that they mistreat prisoners, right? And prison reform is so easily pushed back against because it's easy to lump everyone in with the worst people. It's easy to go, because whenever they talk about prisoners, they always go rapists and murderers, when the vast majority of people in prison are neither one of those, right? So I don't know what the solution to this would be. I mean, I guess I'm highlighting it by reading this on my podcast, but this is not anywhere near the biggest podcast in the world or anything like that.
I mean, you probably need there have been cases in the past of prisons feeding dog food, essentially beef trimmings that were intended for dog food or animal feed to prisoners, and then they get caught and articles get written about it, and then there's a settlement out of it. But I would say in this case that you would need a whistleblower of some kind.
You would need a whistleblower. Yeah, somebody in the chain that isn't a prisoner.
And you need evidence. You need photographic evidence that you can bring to the DA.
How do you even fucking get that? I
don't know, man. I mean, that's why you need a whistleblower. You need somebody who's in a position where, they're a corrections officer who works in that section of the prison and can take some pictures or testify to that. It's tough.
All right. 2 more questions real quick because we're going to run long. Okay. Hey, Brian, you grew up in foster care. This is from Sarah. You grew up in foster care, correct? Would you ever consider fostering or adopting a child? Why or why not? No, I would not. And it's just because I don't think I have the tools to help a damaged child. Maybe. It depends. If somebody could talk me into marriage first, maybe. And if my wife was an angel of some kind, perhaps. But those are two other things that are very unlikely. My friend Stoven and I used to work together to make sketches we would put on YouTube as a shared hobby. It felt like a lot of work when filming, but we were always proud of our finished project and found it was worth it in the end. Stoven moved away years ago, but we now find ourselves living in the same city once again. Unlike myself, Stoven has a real job and generally seems to have his shit together. I talked to him about starting up again when he has time and showed him some script ideas I had. Stoven seemed very excited about getting back to sketch making and even had full support from his girlfriend, now ex. Things fizzled out on our first attempt, which was a rather ambitious project. Months passed and Stoven comes to me with his own premise for a series of sketches. I eagerly agree, but he bailed without notice on our first meeting and it was never rescheduled. Finally, we were forced to work together on a project that was a video gift for a mutual friend's birthday. This proved to me that we still had the magic. We collaborated effortlessly, and our video was an undeniable highlight of the party. I'm now more sure than ever that Stovin and I should keep creating together. Here's the problem. I believe Stovin is a gaming addict. Outside of work, all he seems to do is play video games or D&D with friends over Discord. We've talked briefly about his depression, and I think he uses gaming as a way to distract himself from it. I know the feeling all too well, as do I, my friend. Making sketches is difficult, and a lot of the process isn't fun, which makes it hard to compete with the ease and thrill of starting up a WoW raid. But I believe it will be a bunch more rewarding for him in the end. How can I convince Stovin he should cut out a significant portion of his gaming time to help me make art? Or should I accept that he's ultimately his own man, and if making sketches was something he really wanted to do, he'd stop bailing on projects and reschedule meetups? How do you balance your own gaming addiction with family, friends, work, etc.? Philip. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong name. Philip L. Well, I've certainly been in this situation or a similar situation. I've definitely gotten lost in a video game before. I don't know if it ever rose to the level of gaming addiction. I have friends that have had a problem, and I have some friends that have a fucking problem for sure. And I don't know how to snap them out of it. But the thing is, like, you can't make a motherfucker. This is like any other addiction. You can't make somebody want better for themselves. You can bring it up. You can go, hey man, I think you have a problem. Hey man, I think you're gaming. Because here's the thing. It's not an addiction, technically, until it's having an adverse effect on your life and you still can't stop. Otherwise it's just a enthusiastic hobby, right? Maybe, if he's not making money, he's not streaming, he's not doing something. Did it cost him his girlfriend, or did he start gaming after she left? If it's costing him things, then maybe you should bring it up to him. Maybe, sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees. But, outside of you letting him know that he has an issue. So if that's your friend, all you can do is let him know how you feel, but there's no solution to somebody being an addict, other than them wanting to stop. And man, they just keep coming out with games. It's gonna be tough.
Well, one thing that jumped out at me, I don't want to know what your opinion on this is. He mentioned playing D&D with friends, and it's like it's a different thing. That's more of a social outlet. That doesn't sound to me like what I imagine when somebody says they have a gaming addiction. I usually think of a gaming addiction as more of a solitary. Although I guess shooters and stuff. That's multiplayer online. I don't know. This sounds less like. I'm not convinced that his friend actually has a gaming addiction necessarily.
No?
No.
He says outside of work, all he seems to do is play video games or D&D. Oh, you think maybe this is something with their friendship?
I mean, it could be. I would just say, I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying this, the person who wrote in should make an honest self-assessment of, is their friend really addicted to games, or are they hurt that their friend doesn't want to make videos with them? And so rather than accept, like, maybe my friend just isn't into this thing that we used to do, he has to pathologize his friend's, the competing hobbies that his friend has. Is that what's going on?
Honest self-assessment. Write us back. Again, guys, if you would like advice from the advice champ, just email bswithbriansimpson@gmail.com.
Trying to be doing that bullshit.
And I will get back to you on the next episode.
Also good news.
Also, sponsorship, offer code BS20 at manscaped.com.